Welcome to the Circle of Trust podcast with your host, law firm CMO Keith Dyer. Brought to you by LexGrow, the leader in law firm marketing strategy, training, and implementation. If you're ready to grow your law firm with predictable case flow and revenue, you're in the right place.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Circle of Trust podcast, the podcast where law firm owners and personnel can come on and give objective advice, if you will, or listen to objective conversation about marketing so they know it's trusted. That's what we're all about. We're joined today by Mr. Brian LaBovick, the owner of LaBovick Law Group, who has offices in Florida, East Coast primarily, but he also practices in Massachusetts and has a thriving practice there. He's currently sitting in New York City, so he must be doing something right. Brian, welcome to the podcast.
Fun to be here. I so appreciate it, Keith. Nice to see you.
No, I appreciate it too. So this is the better part of my day. I get to break away from the other stuff that I do, which is not, I enjoy talking to people. And maybe that's a good thing when you have a podcast. But tell us about, you told me that you went to the University of Miami. Was that for undergraduate and law school?
No, only for law school. I went to Miami of Ohio for undergraduate. So I
wow. You went to both of the Miami.
Name of my school to go to law school. They didn't have a law school at Miami. So
the only person I can remember from the University of from Miami in Ohio is Ben Roethlisberger. I know he was a quarterback there.
Yes, he was. Not while I was there because he's a youngster compared to me, but yeah, absolutely.
Oh, you don't look young.
I'm old, my friend. I'm an old man.
You're doing something right. You look like I saw your boxing video, which I loved on your website. Were you ever a boxer? Yeah. Just curious.
I did. I boxed for Miami of Ohio. So I went to Miami of Ohio to wrestle, and I wasn't a very good wrestler compared to all the other Division I wrestlers that are probably.
Wrestling is hard.
Yeah, it is. And you go to high school and you can wrestle in high school and you think you're okay. And then you walk onto a team thinking that you're going to wrestle at Division I wrestling school. And it's a different level of mean and nasty and actual athletic ability. So yeah, the whole package.
Yeah, exactly. I played football in high school. And I remember seeing the wrestling guys practice, and I was like, thank God I don't wrestle. I was like, I would have died. Their practices were absolutely.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to high school in Barron Collier in Naples, Florida.
Okay. That's a good program. That's a good football program. Where'd you play? Did you play in college?
No, I was never fast enough for that. I could have gone maybe to a Division III school, but I'm like, if I'm not going to become a professional, why continue to batter my body? I've already got broken collarbone. I still got issues from it, even just playing junior high school football. I loved it, and I was a starter. I was decent, but I was never great. I was a decent player, high school player.
My son went to Miami of Ohio, and he went as a preferred walk-on to the football team at Miami of Ohio, and he decided very quickly that he'd rather play fraternity than football too.
That's exactly what I did. Yeah, I went up for orientation. I went undergraduate at East Carolina University up the road here. And I live in North Carolina, by the way, Wilmington area, Wrightsville Beach. But I went up to ECU, and I was like, I've never seen so many girls in my life. And I forgot about football. I really didn't really care about school. I just really wanted to go for the girls. Anyway, I digress.
Thank God your priorities were in order.
That's right. I remember going though and coming back and telling my mom, hey, I went up to orientation with a buddy of mine, and I came back and my mom had been pressuring me for years to go to college. And I'd say, maybe, we'll see. I was not a great high school student. And then she pressured me to go, and I went up with this buddy of mine to go to orientation. And that's when I came back, when I saw all the girls, and I said, that's what I want. I want to go to college now, Mom. And she was like, thank God. What changed your mind? And I never told her it was the girls. But anyway, enough about that. Silly, fun stuff. Tell us about
the law or growing law firms or something like that. To that football. People will be tuning in. They'll be like, I did not call to hear about these kids' college expectations.
Anyway, it is fun. It was the best thing that ever happened to me, though, ironically. I ended up starting a marketing company later on, and that university became my biggest client. And I kept them for 25 years. They're marketing through the entire state. And I'm really proud of it because we were able to grow them to be the number one online education program, college education program in the state, and really one of the top 5 or 6 in the country, because it really focused on serving military, and they could get their online degrees while they were in school and everything. So it ended up being a good call overall. So tell us about yourself. Tell us about why you wanted to be, how you became an attorney. I saw this really cool video that you put out on your website where you defended yourself with a traffic ticket. Is that right? And you did such a good job that the judge came over and told you that you should be a lawyer and that you did the best job that week or that month of cross-examination.
Basically, that you summarize the story perfectly. Yeah, I got a traffic ticket. I felt that it was unjustified. I fought it. When I got there, I found out that in Ohio, they actually have a prosecutor that comes in and tries the case in front of a judge. So I think it was a magistrate, but at the time I just said judge. And I went through this trial experience, which was a full trial experience. We sequestered the witnesses. We did our opening statements. I didn't know how to do any of this, of course. It was the judge instructed me on what to do at each step. And every time I would interrupt, she'd tell me to shut up and sit down and I'd have my turn. But when the officer who was the first witness, when the first witness was called, I was with my parents and I said to my father, you got to give me a pad of paper. I need to write down some questions. And I started to scribble down questions because I knew the officer was telling the wrong story. Like he didn't remember it. And I honestly don't blame him. It was like 3 months later as a trial. He's given 400 traffic tickets before then. But this was the most important thing in the world to me when I was 17 years old. So I got up and I crossed the heck out of him and I got done. And at the end of his cross-examination, he admitted that the no turn on red sign, which is the thing I allegedly breached, was in the wrong place. So I'd started a turn on a no turn on red zone. And then I saw the sign, which was not in the place that it normally is. And I backed up and stopped. But I looked like a total punk and I was driving my mom's car, which was too nice of a car for me. And so these two cops pulled beside me, looked at me with my headband on. I had just come from working out at Gold's Gym because I only knew from working out when I was in high school. Wrestling and working out was all I cared about. So I tied this thing around my head, this bandana. I looked like a total punk. And they pulled me over and gave me a ticket for it. And I think they just wanted to check out the car and make sure it wasn't stolen and whatever. So whatever. She ended up finding me not guilty and said, come on back. And we went back to her chambers. And she said, what are you going to be when you go to school? What do you plan on doing when you get older? And I said, I'm going to be a doctor because my best friend, who is a doctor now and lives in South Florida with me, so we've stayed good friends, 3 of us, convinced me that we should be doctors because doctors made a lot of money.
Right.
And so I was like, all right, that sounds fun. So I'm in AP physiology, AP chemistry, AP biology. I'm doing all this crazy AP work in college, trying to be prepared for college to be a doctor and get good grades and all that stuff. And all of a sudden I was like, you're right. I want to be a lawyer. That was way more fun. That was fun to me. And I knew like right then, that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a trial lawyer. I wanted to be in court. That's what I wanted to do. And I have never stepped back from that epiphany.
That's awesome. So what did you major in undergraduate?
Philosophy.
That's actually was my undergraduate major as well.
I got a Bachelor of Philosophy, a B.Phil. No one's ever gotten a B.Phil before in their life. But
that's cool. Yeah. So you went and you got accepted at University of Miami Law School. And then did you get out and immediately start your own practice or did you?
No, I was obviously very directed. I knew what I wanted. I wanted to be a trial lawyer. And I had thought through the process that I wanted to be a federal prosecutor. That's what I wanted to be. I just figured I'd be a federal prosecutor forever. So I ended up, after my second year of law school, I got into a very selective program in Washington, D.C. called the Honors Graduate Program for young lawyers. And I did that program in Washington, and then I applied to be an honors grad hire out of law school into the Department of Justice. And I got that position. There was only one person in South Florida, I think, that got that position.
Wow.
Yeah, that was awesome. And it was only because I did everything trial through law school. I graduated from University of Miami, what's called Order of the Barrister. Two kids who are the top trial lawyers get to do that in the class.
Yeah, so. And that law school is known for its trial work, right?
We are okay. Yeah, we're pretty known for trial work. I think we do okay as Miami grads. There's another law firm in Florida that, had I known about it, I just didn't know. I probably would have hunted that down to be a trial lawyer and go to that other program, but because they have a really solid trial program. But I wanted to be in Miami. My best friend was at University of Miami Med School. Huh?
Is it Stetson?
Stetson, yeah. Stetson is the school. That's correct.
I know it. Yeah.
I don't know if they still do, but they have a professor who teaches their trial ad program who is second to none in the country. They're the best trial school in the country, in my opinion, at least when I was going to law school. I don't know about now.
We have one here in North Carolina Campbell University, same size school, private, and they're known for their trial more so than, say, the University of North Carolina or Duke. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife's a Dookie undergrad, and so we're very pro Duke. I'm not allowed to step onto the UNC campus.
I didn't get into either one of those schools, so we're okay.
Yeah, you're good then. She's all right with Eastern. She's all right with Eastern for sure.
Yes. So when did you decide to start your own firm, and tell us about that journey? The boss.
You don't know who you are. I discovered that I loved being a trial lawyer pretty early on, obviously, but I didn't know that really underneath everything, underneath all the things that I am very entrepreneurial. Like, just as a human being, I've opened up a lot of things since I've learned about the entrepreneurial spirit. So I was a trial lawyer for a couple of years. The government was very stifling for me. It's a great job. My wife was a prosecutor for Janet Reno in the state attorney's office. And
wow.
I watched that job, and that to me was a more fun job. It was a go to court every day, not prep things in for months on end with the FBI and these very sophisticated cases that were almost slam dunks because the FBI is a spectacularly solid enforcement agency, and they give you a case, and it's hard to lose an FBI case, honestly. They are really wrapped tight. So people know when the feds get you, you should be looking for a plea deal. There are some guys who beat the feds. I don't want to take away from defense lawyers. I got a good friend of mine, Len Fuhrer, who is just a spectacularly good defense lawyer. Tama Cudman, great defense lawyer. There's some great defense people out there. But as a federal prosecutor, I was not happy. And I watched her be very happy in her job, trying cases and every day doing like these very fast DUI trials for a while, and then C-level crimes, B-level crimes, A-level crimes. You get them done in 3 days, 4 days. Few of them went on for weeks, but not many. So they were fun. They were a lot of fun. So I thought, I want to go out and make some money. Neither of us made any money. She was making $18,000 when she came out of law school for the state. I had the big money job in the feds, making $31,000 as a GS-11.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we had no money. We had big loans. So I said, let me go out and be a lawyer in the community. And I got a job with a PI firm. And I didn't know much about PI, but the opportunity seemed right. So he had a small firm in Hallandale. He was churning PI cases like a crazy person. I didn't know how he was bringing them in because he wasn't an advertiser, but tons and tons of cases a month, like 100 cases a month back then, which was a lot of cases. And he had no trial lawyer working for him at all. So he had no trial presence. And when I talked to him, he said, look, I'm phobic about court. So I'm a settlement lawyer, but I can't get to good settlements if they don't think I'm going to go to trial. So I'm going to give you a handful of cases and you can just do whatever you want with them. And I'm happy. And I was like, oh, so I get to do all the courtroom work for any case that I want whenever you can't get a good settlement. He goes, yeah, do whatever you want with it. I don't care. Just never make me go to court.
He was tickled pink to hear that, I'm sure.
Oh, I was like, I don't care what you pay me. I just want to come do that. So he paid me, I think he paid me like 50% more than I was making in the government at that time. So I had gotten a promotion in the government up to a GS-12. So I was making like 36 or 38. And I think he brought me to 52. So I was happy as a clam.
Brian, if you don't mind asking, what year was this? What time frame was this?
1990.
Okay.
Yeah, like 1990. And it gives away my age. I was trying to stay away from that.
I'm sorry.
No, it's cool. I'm kidding. I'm 60 and I'm very proud of it.
Well, we're not far apart, so I get it. Yeah. All right.
So yeah, so I had this great opportunity. I took advantage of it. And then after a year, I realized how much money I was making and how credible I was for him. And instead of having me as an employee, he had me start my own PA. He was like, I don't want you to be my employee. I'm going to pay your PA to do my cases. So when I transfer him to you, I don't eat the liability as much of what you're doing. So I said, all right, I don't care. I'm not worried. So I had my own PA and he was my biggest client. So then I could go out and do my own thing and start getting my own feet behind me. And after a year, I came to him about a little over a year and I tried a case and he hadn't tried a case ever. And we tried a case and won a case. And he was like, oh my God, you can actually win trials. So I didn't know from that. I came from the government where I could try 7 cases in a week. Like we were running through cases at one point where you were in trial or in court all the time, especially when I was CLI for the government. And I loved that job. So that was the prosecutor job for the state. And when we were doing that, you could do a DUI trial, 3 of them in a week. So it was great. So I was used to going to trial. I was used to getting out. I was used to understanding how to pick a jury. And that's just a skill set that I didn't know was unique among lawyers. But there's just a lot of lawyers who get into trial law and don't know how to try a case. I realized that after that year, and I realized that I had value. And I went to him and said, hey, I think I've got a lot of value in the market. I'd like you to pay me more. Let's go on a straight up percentage. And he was like, oh, sure. Yeah, let's work that out. Let's work out a deal. Let me think about it. And that was probably in early November. And I went away. I went home to Ohio to visit my parents for Thanksgiving. And while I was in Thanksgiving, he boxed up my office and put it on my doorstep and told me they didn't need me anymore. So I was forced into starting on my own for real very quickly.
What a class act. Yeah.
No, he was a very interesting person. I wouldn't say that class act was one of the adjectives I would describe him.
Yeah, there's obviously some sarcasm there.
Yeah, I know.
So a lot of times wrapped up in these terrible things are opportunity, right?
100% opportunity. My father looked at me and goes, "You're going to look for a job?" And I'm like, "I'm never working for a job."
No, I'm not looking for a job.
I said, I have a job. I have a firm. What I need. And now my father basically kicked me out at 18. He basically gave me some tough love at 18 when I went away to college. Okay, so you got to back up. When I was 7, my father, when I was running away from home, I came down the stairs with a giant suitcase at 7 years old of all my toys and all my clothes and a big suitcase. And I pull it down the stairs of our little house in Columbus. And I'm at the front door and my dad hears me coming down the stairs because I was mad because he punished me for something. And he says, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm running away." And he goes, "Okay." He goes, "I'm okay with that." He said, "I want you to know there comes a time in every man's life when they have to leave the family home. That's what men do. They leave and they start their own lives. And I respect that. And I respect you as a man. And I want you to know that." He goes, "And I'm going to even gift you all the stuff that you put in that suitcase, which I paid for." You didn't pay for any of that, right? Like, you don't have any money. So you didn't pay for that. You can have it all. In fact, if you want to go take some other stuff, you can take it. He goes, "Because once you walk out this door, you will never get money from me again. And you'll have to live on your own. And you can never live with me again. So just know you have to make a decision that if you step out that door as a man, you have to return as a man completely independent." And I took my suit right back upstairs and unpacked. So I knew that running away was not an option at 7 years old.
Hey, at least you were smart enough at 7 to figure that out.
So I'm 18 years old and I'm in college. And I call my parents every weekend from the dial rotary phone in the hallway. And I've got the cord on and I'm standing there talking to them. And my dad says, "What are you doing this summer?" Now, I was a licensed insurance agent. My dad's an insurance agent. He got me licensed at 18. So in October of that year, I got my insurance license. And I used to make appointments for him. And now I could sell on my own. So I said, "I think I'm going to come home, sell some insurance policies, try to save up some money for college," because we split my first year of college. And he said, "Come where?" And I said, "I'm going to come home, stay and work, do some insurance sales and see if I can make some money." He said, "I don't understand what you're saying. You own a home?" And I said, "What are you talking about? Your home, your home." He goes, "Yes, my home." I don't even remember, but at 7 years old, I told you that once you stepped away from the house, you could never come back. Go find a place to live this summer. You're not coming home. Wow. That was it. That was it. And then he said, "And by the way, find a way to pay for college next year because your first year was on me. I paid for half. You paid for half. I took loans. But find a way. Go get full loans. Go work. Do whatever you want. But get ready to be independent because you're a man." And that was it. And he was, I don't want to say that he was as harsh as that the whole time through, but he scared me with that. And from then forward, I felt like everything was a gift. Like anything I got out of him was a gift. It was just a lucky gift. So when I went out on my own, I was there visiting and he said, "What do you need?" I was living in his house and I was paying his mortgage for him because they had bought a place in Pembroke Pines. And so he made a deal with me. There was a 3-bedroom, 3-bath, and I could have 2 bedrooms and 2 baths if I would pay the mortgage, which was low because he put money down that made it a reasonable price. And whatever I got in rent of the other bedroom, I could take away from the mortgage payment so I could pay less. So I rented one room to a very good friend of ours, Roger, and he paid me rent. And then I just paid the difference, which was only like $300 a month. So I'm making sure his mortgage gets paid every month. And I said to him, I said, what do you need? And I said, I need to go rent free for a little bit so I can start my own. So he gifted me that. He goes, I'll give you 3 months. So he gave me 3 months of him covering the mortgage. I collected the rent and I kept it all, and he just paid his mortgage. And then I got back on the wagon of paying his mortgage for him. But it gave me the space to start my own firm.
Yeah.
He also bought me, as a new office gift, HP printer. He took me out. He taught me something really good about work. We went out to Costco, and he goes, what do you need? And I said, I need a little printer, and I need a computer, because I need my own computer, better computer. And he bought me a Mac Daddy office level HP printer with an envelope drawer and a double size thing. And he was going to teach you something right now. He goes, I'm gifting it to you. So just remember this. Equipment works faster than people. So make sure equipment does as much work as possible. And that little dot matrix printer you want to buy will make you sit and wait for it way too long. Your time's more valuable than that. Pay for this, whatever it was, $1,000, $2,000 printer at the time. It was a great lesson. He's a good coach for me. He's a hard dad, but he was a great coach for me.
Sometimes the harder the parents are, and this is a different era that we live in.
Yeah.
The harder the parents are, the more favors they're doing for you, because you're forced to go out and figure out how to do it and everything. I personally, when I turned 18, I could not wait to get out of the house. I just wanted to be free from it. I had to grow up pretty quick, but anyway, I love that. That's a pretty cool story. So let's fast forward then. You got yourself set up in your own firm. And then how did you grow your firm to be as it is now? What part did marketing play in that? Let's talk a little bit about marketing since we're here.
Little lucky, right? Little lucky. So I was in Miami.
Lucky. It sounds like you worked your ass off. But
yeah, I did. There was a lot of hard work involved too. But on the advertising marketing scheme, I started my practice in Miami, and the Yellow Page person came to sell me an ad. And the ads were like crazy outrageous for what I could imagine in a book that's this big, that had 9 million people in it. And I don't know how my ad would have been seen to make one client happen, right? Like, I just didn't believe it. But I saw an opportunity. I would go and get the Miami Review, which was the business paper in South Florida. And I saw in the ads when I was looking for furniture, PI practice for sale, Jupiter, Florida, right to this guy, SJL at PO Box, blah, blah, blah. So I thought, oh man, like my wife and I had talked a lot about moving out of Miami and getting a little north in Florida, maybe north of into Palm Beach, or maybe a little somewhere in there, only because we thought it was better ground to grow a family, have a family, raise kids, a little bit less hectic, less money. So I saw this and I knew Jupiter was a beautiful up and coming area. So I ran to the Jupiter phone book at the Miami library and I found Stuart J. Levinson in Jupiter phone book. And I put one and one together and called him. And I said, hey, I hear your practice is for sale. And he says, how did you hear that? I just put the ad in the Miami Review today. And I was like, I don't even have my name in it. And I'm like, okay, you're not a rocket scientist, but whatever. So I called Stuart, we made a deal, and I bought his practice. And his practice had a Yellow Page ad that I assumed and took over. And for 4 months of the end of that year, I watched cases roll in on that Yellow Page ad. And a guy showed up named Stuart Kaplan. And he said, I need you to buy a bigger ad because you're going to make a lot of money. And I didn't buy a bigger ad because I did buy a bigger ad, but I didn't go to the 3/4 page, which was as big as you could make it then. So Stuart said, you're going to rue the day, and I'm going to tease you until you're an old man about not taking the number 1 slot and buying this ad. And I didn't. The next year, a guy named Jerry Horwitz showed up and said, Stuart moved to the Orlando office. So I met Stuart one year. He and I had become friendly. We talked a lot. He was Yellow Page salesman. He moves. Jerry Horwitz takes over. Jerry and I become good friends. I, of course, rue the day that I didn't take that 3/4 page ad because Dell and Schaefer took it and they were in front of me in the Yellow Pages for 20 years. So, yeah, it just killed me. And I get business from them now. Like, we do a lot of business together, which is nice. But still, like, we were there and I was so bummed because I was always like on the backside of their first page. So I'm going to fast forward, but all those ads produced, and that little experiment turned into a marketing machine where I learned to believe in the power of marketing. And
I love that. Yeah, you
Yellow
obviously.
Pages turned into TV, turned into internet radio, etc. So that grew the business. Fast forward to today. Of course, the Yellow Pages has crashed and nobody works for the Yellow Pages anymore. And me and Jerry and Stuart all share Panthers tickets right in front of each other because we're all still friends. And Jerry works for me now. So
what does Jerry do for you?
So we have a practice that so 3 of our business areas are consumer related business, C2B, and 1 is B2B collection practice. And I have salespeople that go and sell that collection business, the business of collecting medical bills. And so he's the leader of that sales group, and we have 6 salespeople, and he leads salespeople.
He works in kind of a sales thing for you. I got you. Yeah,
that's it.
Yeah, and when you were going through this process, what were some of the frustrations that you came across with marketing that drove you nuts? Like, what are the couple of things that you can think of off the top of your head? You're like, God, this sucks. Why am I having to deal with this? Or what did not work? Or what, that kind of thing? What comes to your mind?
The hardest thing for me is attribution. I think everybody in marketing feels like attribution is the hardest thing you're ever going to get. Proper attribution. And without it, you're wild ass guessing about when you need to pull a marketing campaign for ineffectiveness or when the branding will take hold. And I would say that I've made more bad mistakes pulling out of good marketing campaigns early because I had no attribution and didn't see fast enough results. And had I run the course, I would have been able to penetrate a market, and I would have seen that exponential growth that happens once the penetration occurs. So once you become more top of mind, once you become a better marketer in the area, once your message starts to hit people enough times, you become a first choice. And it's a really hard thing to do in the law because we're so incredibly
linear.
Linear and competitive. So as a linear lawyer, I think this way. And as a marketer, it's like super competitive over here with lots of voices. I often feel like there's 2 things that are also frustrating. One is that I'm trying to scream loud in a very loud box. And the other one is that on the flip side, I feel forever that we have been crushed under the heel of an unethical boot. So there's guys in the market, or women in the market, I'd say guys as all people, but that have runners that do unethical things, that take your cases, that,
especially in Florida.
Especially in Florida. So there's a lot of scammy people, a lot of unethical people, and you're fighting against that very hard. And so those are the things that have been very frustrating for me. Fighting with people that don't fight fair, and fighting with people that fight fair, but just have more money and a louder voice than me in the market, and trying to be second, third, and fourth place. Just for right now, just to give you a very clear example right now, there is a localized fight for attention between John Morgan and Michael Stanger. So Stanger, Green, and Finer is a very big voice in the market. They probably have, 9, 10 markets in the country. They've got a lot of money. They've got a lot of investment. They've just got a lot to fight with. And they've been the 800-pound gorilla until recently when John Morgan came into the market. And now John I'm going to be the top of the market, and he's pumping in money into the market. Both of them have outspent the entire market individually, and they're still fighting with each other. So all of us, and I'm 3, by the way. So me, Gordon, Antijar, Goldenfarb, Rubenstein, like everybody in our market is below Stanger and Morgan, and they are fighting this crazy expensive fight. So our voice on TV gets lost.
Yeah, I've experienced this in Charlotte as well. That's tough. It's difficult. It makes you wonder like how far it goes across the whole country. And I get what you're saying. I don't want to give you advice. You seem like you know a lot about what you're doing. And everything you said is just amazing, by the way. Most law firm owners do not have the kind of insight or introspective understanding of what you just said about the amount of time that it takes for something to take hold, and for the power of marketing, and that it takes a concerted effort over a long period of time, doing it very well, and then you start to see results. And the attribution is, even if it's only 75%, like it's hard to get some of the attribution from the traditional channels, we still measure it because we start to at least even 75% clarity of data is better than none. And the kind of rising tide that happens when you're doing the marketing on the traditional branding side. And a lot of times I've seen law firms ignore branding and they don't understand why their cost of acquisition doesn't go down. I'm like, because that's something that's going to happen over time as you become a great marketer. But you're right. Right now, that is a big issue with the big firms fighting it out in certain markets. And you're unfortunately so close to the Morgan and Morgan machine that you have to deal with that. So how are you handling that? And is that sort of your biggest fear right now, that you're like, how you overcome this?
I'll be honest with you. I'm not fearful of it at all. There are other things that I'm fearful of, but I'm not really fearful of.
What are you fearful of?
I'm fearful that we won't keep up with whatever thing is going to happen in the law through the use of AI, and staying on the board in a way that keeps the law firm and lawyers relevant in an age when I see so much moving in that direction.
Yeah.
And I see so many applications of it, and we're using it a lot, right? So there's tons of applications, there's tons of things that'll change. It never gets less expensive. Like, I used to complain that we had two phone books. We had one phone book and then Yellow Book entered our market. I'm like, great, now I got two phone books to advertise. That doesn't help me. It doesn't get me more market share. It just makes me pay more money for the same market share. And the same thing with then Verizon, right? Well, the internet just made that exponential. So now we've got social, and there's multiple social channels, and there's PPC, and there's LSAs, and there's branding campaigns, SEO. There's this entire construct, YouTube videos, YouTube TVs, connected TV, OTT TV. It's just, how many different ways can you split that baby and keep your market share and understand how to do it? And what will AI tell us about market behavior and how young people, like demographics 18 to 30, right? What are they going to do in the next 10 years? And how are they making their decisions on lawyers? And will it get more introspective and they'll go to AI and start talking about, evaluate for me the best lawyers in a market? I would, if I were them, right? So I just see that as being the big threat. I don't think John Morgan's the threat. And the reason I don't, for us, is that if you're in your market and you do have a brand name,
yes,
you do have market share, and you do have your branding set, you have that. And I fortunately now, I feel old. 30 years in a market gives me some brand equity.
Absolutely. And that's a huge
rising tide, like we said, it floats all ships, right? So John comes into a market, which he came in recently, and my market share went up. So I don't see him educated more of a market.
I'm glad to hear you say that. I think people want someone that's in their community, that they know lives there, that eventually everybody's going to figure out, oh, Morgan and Morgan is the Walmart of the world. And that's not what they want necessarily, especially not when they're trying to either be compensated for a terrible injury or whatever or a work injury or whatever it might be. It's all this stuff that you're talking about is great. I just tasked my own team. We are bringing in a young lady that we hired, she's been working with us for a while in another firm, but I put her aside and I said, I'm going to give you these three law firms, and they're all relatively large and pretty good sized markets. They're similar law firms. They're all personal injury. We're going to take AI every single step of the way, whether it's SEO, pay-per-click, social media, buying traditional television, buying traditional radio. I want to research every single product. I want to research every single automation, every single piece of AI tool that's out there. And I want us to create a process for every single one of those things using the best tools available. And then I want to insert them into firms as an assistant or marketing manager under my tutelage and execute the marketing for them in the most efficient way possible, and always staying on top of it. So that is a project that I'm currently working on. We have AI we use.
Brilliant project. It's a brilliant project and use for AI. Brilliant. You're going to get a lot of market share if you can provide that data and attribution understanding of a market to law firms.
Thank you. We have built out our attribution and reporting models. We can show you some time, and it's not important on this call, but where we have a pretty good idea now. We come into the case management systems and whatever the CRMs that you use, and we set them up so that your intake department can give us info. And then we also set the digital up with different phone numbers, and everything comes into a nice dashboard. And so that's part of it. But the AI part, like what we can do with video now with AI, and it's just amazing. And so why couldn't we have someone that just sits there and makes these cool videos and puts them out on social, so they're not boring? And anyway, so that's all of that is under process. And I appreciate you saying that, because I like to get the affirmation that you think, especially from the law firm owners that understand marketing, that they think that it's a good idea. I do think AI is a huge deal. In 2018, I went back and got a master's degree level thing where all I did was study AI and its use in business, and it was extremely beneficial. I set it aside for a few years though, because nobody was talking about it that much. And then last year, or 2023 to now, especially this year, I think 2025 will be the year of AI mass adoption that I've never seen before. Everybody's talking about it. It's the buzzword. Not to say I was ahead of the game, but I was able to get involved and understand it, which has been greatly beneficial. So so I don't want to take up a lot more time. We all got a lot to do. I feel like I could talk to you for days though, man. You're very interesting.
I appreciate you too. And I love what you're doing. I want to talk to you about that more. I think it's a great project.
Okay, thank you. I look forward to that. So let me ask you a quick question. Where are you going to go from here? What are your goals for the firm? And I know you love doing what you do. How much longer do you think you're going to do it? And do you think where do you want to grow the practice? And are there any like coaches or programs that you've been a part of that you think have helped you? I guess that's the first question. Then you tell me where you want to go with the firm.
There's so many. We're going to be here for an hour if we're going to talk about the things that have taught me stuff, because
why don't you tell us?
And I'm a slow learner. You got to hit me over the head with a bat to teach me, because I have my own ideas that I think are better. But I will tell you that there's a number of programs out there that I've been a part of, and they all have been productive for me. I don't know if you know any of these people, and I'm not trying to plug any of them, but I'll tell you the people that I've been involved.
No, I know all of them. So let's go.
Yeah. So I know Mark Powers at Atticus really well. I think his system is brilliant. Right. I love him. And I think he helps people really get themselves moving and systemized. He's the Gerber of legal startups. So I love Mark, and he got me started, and he's great, right? I met a guy named Tim Mackey, who owns a company called Vista Consulting. So they do a lot in the PI world. And he started that company with a guy named Chad Dudley, who's one of his best friends. And those two guys, and Chad has a great firm, Dudley DeBosier in Louisiana, and they run their firm brilliantly. Their systems are second to none. And they were created and run by a woman who started with Hughes and Coleman named Mickey Love. And Mickey Love is the CEO of a place called Accelerator, which Chad has, I think, an interest in too. So they're doing that, and he's a big part of Accelerator. But she, as an operator, and her breadth of knowledge is spectacular. I would be remiss not to mention Ken Hardison at Pilma. Ken is amazing. He's
down the street here. He's a friend of mine.
Yeah.
Grew up on the road.
He's a big influence. I was in his mastermind for a number of years. I'm rethinking about joining another mastermind for him. He's a great thinker. Mike Morse up in Michigan has a group called Fireproof.
Yeah.
And I went to school with his second in command, John Knockhazel. So he's a Miami guy, Ohio guy.
I know this guy.
Great guy, great thinkers, and they execute. Yeah, they execute EOS like nobody's business for law firms, and they are really crazy solid in their ability to help. These are all people that I've met with and been with and learned things with. Crisp Video, Michael Mogul is a brilliant marketer, brilliant strategician. The concept of moving what I did previously in college as a boxer into the motif of why I'm a fighter now was all on his team, and their capacity to brand an organization, in my opinion, better than everybody else. They're second to none in that ability to take your organization and give it a unique brand and a unique value, USP in the market, unique selling proposition. He's great at it. Great. I totally appreciate everything he's done. I'm trying to think if there's others, but those are all the people that if I were doing this, I would read every single thing. Patrick Lencioni has read. If Patrick Lencioni writes it, read it. Start with 5 Dysfunctions of Team. Go to Ideal Team Player. Those are the 2 most important books you can get to, and how to run your organization. and then read everything else because it's just entertaining parables that teach a lot in management skills and running a firm skills. And the same thing with Cameron Harold. His is more instructional, but I love every single thing he's done. And vivid vision is such an important concept. The concept of visioning out who you want to be in your firm and really knowing your direction will set your path really well. And people don't do that. Understanding your core values. Yeah. Know your core values, know your mission, have all that set, and then create the vision of where you want to go down to the tiniest little detail in your head, and you can make it happen. So those are all my advices, and that's the system that I use when I go in and coach. Like I've been being used as a coach now. So some people have called me and say, hey, how do you build it? How do you do it? Another good friend of mine started his own thing, Craig Goldenfarb, who is a good friend of mine, started seven-figure attorney, and he's pretty good at helping people too. I don't want to take anything away from Craig, but an eight-figure firm. So Lewis, it was Scott Bader, Lewis Scott. Yeah, Lewis Scott from Atlanta grew that firm in 5 years to $30 million and started eight-figure firm. So you got seven-figure firm Craig, eight-figure firm Lewis, and they're both great. But when I do my coaching, I really try to start at the foundation, which is tell me who you are as a human being, find your core values, create a mission that you can live with, that you love, that you will. If you call my firm right now, call anyone in my firm, just call it and say, hey, who are you guys? If Brian says, who are you guys? Every single person will say, we are warriors for justice. And if you say, what's the mission? They will, by rote, say, we maximize justice by aggressively fighting for our clients' rights. Say, what are our core values? Fight to win, passion to serve, relentless innovation, own it. And every single week on Friday, we talk about all that. We behavioralize it. We reward behavioralization with a program that allows our team to bonus each other monthly on good behaviors that are core value behaviors. So you get your core values in line, you get your mission in line. And I, as the owner manager, like the oversight of all of that, can come to New York and enjoy my life and know my firm is running the way it's supposed to run, even if I take off time.
I know, I love that. And the mission, vision, values thing. And by the way, Luis and I are very good friends, actually. I was part of his coaching program with the firm that I worked in, and I learned a lot from him. I did. He's really good. And he's a great guy, too, good person. So tell us where and I agree with all that, the mission, vision, values. If you don't have that top level vision being driven down into everything, not only your employees, but your marketing and everything, that's when everything begins to smooth out. And so many law firm owners and business owners in general, not just law firm owners, don't think of that, bypass it. They think tactics, and they get lost in that. So anyway, tell us about where you want to go with your firm at your age.
Opportunism or squirreling.
What's that?
I said, I call that tactical opportunism or being a squirrel. Like you say that squirrel and you look and you like, so it's like bright, shiny toy. Let's go do that. Oh, bright, shiny. So entrepreneurs do that because they don't have a vision. They can't concentrate. They don't focus. That's me. I get it. I get it because it's my problem and I've learned how to overcome it. Okay. Say what you just said. I apologize.
No, you're fine. That's perfect what you just said, because that's exactly how I am. And I have hardest time with the firms I work with that I'm like, please stop chasing shiny objects. Let's stick to what we know is going to work. Let's get that working. And then we'll worry about these other ancillary things that could help. So anyway, tell us where you want to go. Let's wrap the conversation up. It's a really good conversation. Let's wrap it up. I want to know what Brian wants to do with his law firm over the next 10 years. I see you're a family man. Maybe your kids might get into it. What do you want to do?
I would love my kids to get into it. Right now, I don't have anybody who has expressed I want to take over the firm. My 24-year-old doesn't really have his path set yet. He's graduated college and he's working at a job that I don't think is his future. Could be, but it's a corporate job. He's in a corporation in their customer service department. My middle child graduated from Vandy. He's a very direction-oriented person, and he is starting his own firm, but he's in multifamily real estate. He's been in it for a number of years. He's working for Monarch, which is the 5th largest real estate entity REIT in the country. It's private held. He's done a great job with them. They have a lot of respect for him, but he's dying to be on his own. And so he's got some money behind him now, and he's going to start on his own. And then my oldest, which is my daughter, she graduated with honors from Yale. Very hard charging, all-American athlete, very solid person. She's an overachiever at all times. She's in law school. She just completed her 2nd year. but
Oh,
like she was at all things academic, like my wife, very smart. She's got a big firm white shoe job making crazy money for a kid that doesn't know what they're doing in the law. And that's driving her. And because she's an athlete, she wants to be involved in athletic law related stuff. So she has a goal of doing corporate athletic law. So she's with Sidley Austin this summer, and it's a big firm, and got probably the best big law sports representation program in the
yeah.
country. And so she's working in that, and her goal is to work there and see what happens from there. It could be that she gets into big law like a lot of kids and decides this hourly grind is not my cup of tea. We'll see. I don't think so. I think that she's a big law type person. She's a grinder, and she'll just grind people down to the nub. She outworks everyone I know. I really respect her intelligence and her work ethic and her competitive drive. So now she's in competitive Brazilian jiu-jitsu. So we go and watch her kick people's butt. So it's fun. It's fun. So we'll see. But I've got young lawyers in my firm who are going to take over, that are going to be shareholders, and we're going to keep growing it. Our goal is to grow it to 125 million in gross annual revenue by 2030. So that's our goal, and that's where we're headed.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you're going to make it, man. You're well versed in all this stuff. It's very good to see, and I think that you're positioned well to do whatever it is you want to do. And I appreciate you being on here today. I learned a lot from you, and I hope you enjoyed the conversation as well.
It's been great, Keith. I so appreciate the time, and thank you very much. And yeah, I look forward to talking with you again.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the Circle of Trust, powered by LexGrow. If you enjoyed today's episode, follow us and leave a review. Want to grow your law firm faster? Book a free strategy call at lexgrow.com. Until next time, keep growing, keep innovating. Let's grow with LexGrow.